Hey folks, it's time for the quote of the day, and today's quote of the day is going to actually mirror a quote that I did last year, which it seems fitting considering that we're starting a new 365 today, because yesterday was the 2-year anniversary of the quote of the day video. So we're going to start anew, but still retain something old. Today we are quoting one of the greatest songwriters, without question, to have ever lived, as still alive today. He's 85 today. Today is the birthday of Bob Dylan. Now, again, I did quote him last year, but we're going to take a little bit of a different angle from it this time, and we're going to kind of focus in on one particular song that he wrote. And I think that it's a song that everybody needs to know. I think most people already do know it, but I think that it's one that we're going to look at and we're going to try to understand it a little bit because those words in that song matter so much today that I just feel like we need to take a few minutes and talk about it. So today we're going to be, for the quote of the day, we're going to be using the lyrics from Blowin' in the Wind. Now, I'm sure that most of you know that song probably inside and out. I'm not going to necessarily give you any information on the lyrics that you don't already know, but there's something about the music that I think a lot of people perhaps don't know, or perhaps you've forgotten or glossed over. Now you have to know this to truly feel it. You need to understand where Bob Dylan learned to write songs. Bob Dylan learned to write songs from Woody Guthrie. Like that was who he wanted to emulate. That's who he wanted to be. And what Woody Guthrie used to do was he would take an old song. This is pretty much how he always did it. He would take an old song, like a song from many, many, many years ago, a song that was either, a frontier song or a spiritual or whatever it may be, and he would take it and he would update it with new lyrics. "This Land Is Your Land" is a song that was built on another song that came before it. There's just so many examples of this in all of Woody Guthrie's uh, portfolio. I don't know what the word would be for that, but this is what he did. So Bob Dylan did that too. A lot of the folk songs that were on the first album and the second album that Bob Dylan did were basically just him taking music from wherever and adding his own lyrics to it. And this is something that is very common. And Bob Dylan has been very, very open about it. Everybody, they weren't stealing it; they were taking it and using it in a new way. Now, "Blowin' in the Wind" is actually like the actual song. The lyrics are all Bob Dylan. He wrote the lyrics to it, but the music is actually the music from what they used to call Negro spiritual. That was "No More Auction Block for Me." And you can, like, if you know that song at all, which I don't know why you would, but if you do know, it's only 4 lines, but the melody that goes through it is what "Blowin' in the Wind" is built on. And I apologize for this, but I'm gonna just give you the way that "No More Auction Blocks" would sound, so that you can hear it yourself when you hear "Blowin' in the Wind." Okay, so the way that "No More Auction Block" was sung would be, let me find it. No more auction block for me. No more, no more. No more auction block for me. Yeah, many thousand gone. Now you have to understand that this is a song that people would sing as they were literally walking backwoods trails to get out of slave country so that they could be free. Like, this is a song that they would sing for that. It's a song of freedom. It's a spiritual that was talking about how they are finally going to be free. They're not going to be on the auction block anymore. Very simple in terms of, like, everybody gets what it's about, but I think that when you hear it, you can, like, even that you can imagine, people walking, just slogging, trudging through, swamp water and other bullshit that they had to go through just to stay off the roads and to stay away from the slave catchers as they were heading out to freedom. Like, you can imagine them singing this, right? Like, that's what I hear. That's what I see when I think about this. And then when you go and you pull up "Blowin' in the Wind" and you have that in your head, it's really like Bob Dylan changes like 2 notes and it becomes How many roads must a man walk down before you call him a man? You hear it? It's the same thing, right? And Bob Dylan did that on purpose. That was something that, like, that's how he wrote songs. And I think that when he was asked about it, this is so beautiful. When he was asked about it, his response was, and this was back in like 63 or 64 when he said this, but he said he thought it was such a powerful, beautiful, spiritual song about freedom that he wanted to create a new spiritual experience with his lyrics. And I thought, wow, that's like, how better to pay homage to that, way of that thinking, that feeling of trudging through freedom and all of these things that the original song conjures, and then you take it and you add these lyrics to it. And I don't know. Now every time, like, I learned this probably about 10 years ago, and every time I hear Blowin' in the Wind now, that's what I think of. But in today's world, Blowin' in the Wind, the lyrics to it matter so much more. I mean, that's not, I can't say they matter more than they did back then. Blowin' in the Wind has become an anti-war and civil rights song since the minute it was fucking put out. I think it was Peter, Paul, and Mary that took it to a level that it became like a number one hit and shit like that. Bob Dylan never had it as a number one hit, but it was it's one of those songs that it just transcends everything. And now when you hear it and you hear Bob Dylan's voice singing it, not my voice, but Bob Dylan's voice, it's got so much emotion and so much beauty. And these rhetorical questions that are being asked are questions that you want answers to, but the reality is that he tells you in the song the answer's out there, right? The answer's blowing in the wind. You may never have it, you may never catch it, you may never find the answers, but that doesn't mean you should stop asking the questions. And so, without further ado, here are the lyrics to Blowin' in the Wind by Bob Dylan. How many roads must a man walk down before you call him a man? How many seas must a white dove sail before she sleeps in the sand? Yes, and how many times must the cannonballs fly before they're forever banned? The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. Yes, and how many years must a mountain exist before it is washed to the sea? Yes, and how many years must some people exist before they're allowed to be free? Yes, and how many times can a man turn his head and pretend that he just doesn't see? The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. Yes, and how many times must a man look up before he can see the sky? Yes, and how many ears must one man have before he can hear people cry? Yes, and how many deaths will it take till he knows that too many people have died? The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. It's impossible to not sing that song. I don't even care. I don't even have a good voice, but it is impossible to not sing that song. Bob Dylan is without a doubt one of the greatest songwriters in human history. I genuinely believe that. The things that he's done for music, the awards that he's won, uh, just astounding. An astounding man, a man of all times. I genuinely believe that. Happy birthday to Bob Dylan. And for those of you keeping count, today is day one of the next year for me. And while I may never have the answers to the questions, for the next 364 days, I'm going to be exploring them as much as I possibly can. Take care of yourself. Take care of others. I'll talk to you soon.